I'm very lucky. I've got two Suzuki TS185s, a 1973 K model and a 1991 TS185 ER. They are very similar in a lot of ways. The same piston dimensions, the same horsepower, the same torque on paper, the same fuel tank capacity, but they're very, very different bikes to ride. The 185 ER has a reed valve induction and the K model has a piston port induction. The reed valve certainly gives it more mid-range punch, so if you're going up a hill at 80 kilometres per hour, you just crack open the throttle in top gear and it'll keep the speed or even accelerate. Whereas with the K model, you might have to bog down a little bit or go back to fourth. The riding stance on the K model is more like a 250. You've got plenty of room around the handlebars and the tank for your knees, whereas the ER feels more like a 125 to sit on. Very, very different. The front forks on the ER are superior. They are beefier, bigger diameter, and the rear shocks are half decent. Whereas the K model has the standard that was across the Suzuki range of the era, which is a smaller diameter with a three spring adjuster on the internal springs. So definitely superior suspension on the 185 ER. Interestingly, the jets on these, the standard one on the K model is a 135 and on the ER it was a 195 standard. Now I've taken that down to a 160. It just wouldn't rev out at all in the high revs with the 195, and I went down in increments of 10 until I could get it to rev cleanly at high revs. Now I'm at an altitude of 740 metres, so if you're at sea level that will vary. Fuel economy out of the ER is approximately 30 kilometres per litre, and out of the K model it's approximately 24 kilometres per litre. So the ER definitely gives you better fuel economy. So I'm just going to start them up now so you can hear the exhaust note difference. Now the ER. So the ER is definitely quieter and more refined. Problems with these bikes. Well, the ER, they tended to rust out the fuel tanks and they're really hard to buy now. You can't buy any more new ones, so it's the second-hand market. And with the K model, they've got that terrible design in the rear sprocket, whereas there should have been, in the sprocket carrier, there should have been a bearing in there. So all there is a sleeve, a bush and a circlip in the K model, which does wear out. You need to grease that. Whereas in the ER model it has got a bearing in there, a much better sprocket carrier setup all around. Both machines are very good for smoking. They don't smoke very much. The K model has less restriction and that's why it is louder. And it barely blows any smoke at all. And I've had people that have said to me that my oil pump must be faulty because it's not blowing any smoke. So the CCI works really well. And so definitely leave the CCI connected. That is my advice. So that's about it with the two of them. Which one do I prefer? Well, the K model certainly puts a smile on my face. The ER is more refined and still a very, very fun bike to ride. I do find that when I go to the service station, more people come up to me with the K model and want to talk to me, although the ER is getting more attention as time goes on. So whichever one you have, I'm sure you'll love it and enjoy it just as I do. So, old Suzukis forever.